This is Gate World. That's pretty gross. And this is Stargate SG-1 Season 5 in about 10 minutes. As always, watch out for spoilers for this season of the show. We won't go in depth on every single episode, but we will cover all the major story points you need to know. Let's recap. SG-1 and Jacob Carter are stranded in a distant galaxy, but it turns out that Apophis showing up is the least of their worries. An unidentified ship trades fire with Apophis, and after making repairs, SG-1 finds the Goa'uld mothership abandoned. It's been infested with replicators, and a reunion with Teal'c leads to a painful betrayal. Teal'c has been brainwashed, and is once again singing the praises of Apophis as his first prime. The Jaffa are no match for the replicators that have hitched a ride, and Apophis falls back to his personal shield after the replicators supercharge the engines to fly the ship back to the Milky Way. SG-1 nabs Teal'c and jumps ship after destroying the sublight engines, leaving Apophis and the replicators to crash into Delmak in a spectacular explosion. Getting Teal'c's mind back won't be so easy.
He is deceiving you.
Master Braytak can smell a lie a mile away and yanks Teal'c's symbiote to force him to endure the rite of Mal-Sharan. A non-corporeal alien on the planet Valona is smitten with Major Carter and follows the team back through the gate. He creeps her out by showing up on the street and then inside her house, but Sam soon learns what he really is, an ascended being, like Oma Dasala, the entity now caring for Share's child. Orlin was banished by the others of his kind for giving the Valonans advanced technology, which they then used to destroy themselves. After retaking mortal form and getting Sam into trouble, he builds a miniature Stargate in her basement to return to the planet.
Oh, and you're going to need a new toaster.
After stopping the weapon from being powered up again, Orlin is mortally wounded, but the others give him a second chance and allow him to ascend again. The Real are a species hunted by the Goa'uld for their biological ability to fool others into seeing them as someone else. One Real, posing as the SGC's Lieutenant Tyler, relies on Colonel O'Neill and his team to escape capture. SG-1 breaks a star by gating through it, apparently dooming the people of K'tau, and are rebuffed by the Asgard High Council when they ask for help. K'tau is part of the Protected Planets Treaty with the Goa'uld, which prevents the Asgard from interfering with a natural catastrophe. Young Cassandra is now a teenager, adopted by Dr. Fraser, but after Cassandra falls ill, she begins to develop telekinetic powers. That sends SG-1 back to the planet Honka to search for answers, but instead they pick up a hitchhiker, an invisible Nirti follows them back to Earth, and after she's captured, eventually agrees to heal Cassandra in exchange for her freedom. That definitely won't come back and bite us in the future. SG-1 finds a colony of humans holding Unas as slaves, and they've captured Daniel's old friend Chaka. The team joins the Russians on a joint mission inside an alien ziggurat, where the imprisoned Goa'uld Marduk takes a Russian soldier as its host, and is barely prevented from escaping. And Colonel O'Neill turns to Harry Mayborn for help once again after Major Carter is abducted by Adrian Conrad, a billionaire who plans to implant himself with a symbiote to heal himself of a terminal disease. Sam is rescued, but the now Goa'ulded Conrad falls into the custody of this guy. Colonel Frank Simmons is the new head of the NID, who has the same bag of dirty tricks Mayborn used to have in that job. Omok's funeral leads to a surprise invitation by High Chancellor Travell. The Tolan are suddenly now willing to share their ion cannon technology with Earth. Nareem is just as shocked as the team is, and while negotiations proceed, they begin snooping around. Omok was apparently onto something, and the High Council has devised new weapons of mass destruction, which the Goa'uld, now calling the shots, plans to use against Earth. It's Tanith, who isn't acting on his own, but serving another, a new player on the galactic scene, a mysterious Goa'uld he refuses to name.
Oh, he has a name. The likes of you are simply forbidden to know it.
Tanith has a ship that is impervious to the ion cannon, and he forces the Tolan to deploy their new weapon against Earth. But Nareem sabotages his people's new forced alliance, and in retaliation, Tanith destroys the planet. The Tolan people are no more. With zero knowledge of the alternate timeline where Earth was conquered by an advanced race posing as their friends, SG-1 has a chance encounter with the Ashen once again. They seem to be offering us everything we could ask for, but Daniel and Teal'c dig a little deeper. SG-1 figures out that the Ashen probably come from that planet Hammond ordered locked out of the dialing computer, thanks to the bloodied note from the future. The Ashen turned the planet Volia into farmland, and they probably want to do the same to Earth. After confronting the Ashen, Carter barely escapes, but has to leave behind Ambassador Joe Faxon. Colonel O'Neill is appointed a special Air Force consultant when a very cheesy sci-fi show launches, with some uncanny echoes of the real Stargate program. Wormhole X-treme is the brainchild of Martin Lloyd, an alien now living on Earth who's forgotten about meeting Jack last year. Martin has been taking pills that make him forget his past, but the Stargate program ended up feeding his subconscious while he was writing the show.
You see, I wanted to call the show Going to Other Planets, but research says that shows with X in the name get higher ratings.
SG-1 conducts a training scenario for a group of SGC recruits, including Jennifer Haley, and led by young Lieutenant Elliot. Then, Teal'c finally gets his revenge on Tanith by shooting down his Alcash. Except the ship crashes into the Stargate while Teal'c is in transit. Now he's stuck inside the gate's mechanisms, and Carter has to stop anyone from dialing in or out so that his pattern doesn't get wiped from the gate's memory. While Daniel goes to Russia to negotiate for their DHD, Colonel Simmons introduces a very brash, downright rude, but arguably brilliant scientist named Dr. McKay. He's almost as smart as Carter when it comes to all things Stargate, and she's forced to work with him to try and save Teal'c, even though McKay has basically decided it's an impossible task. Oh, and he's a giant misogynist.
I wish I didn't find you so attractive. I always had a real weakness for dumb blondes.
The time has come for the new Goa'uld power to step out of the shadows. The System Lords gather on a space station for a rare summit, and each confesses that they've suffered heavy losses from their new adversary. Yu, Ball, Kali, Bastet, Morrigan, Olokun, and Svarog. Daniel goes in undercover as Lord Yu's attendant, using the Real chemical to convince Yu that he's his faithful servant. But just as Daniel is getting ready to unleash a deadly toxin developed by the Tok'ra to take them all out, a newcomer arrives. It's Osiris, whose host is Daniel's ex-girlfriend Sarah. Osiris has been sent as the emissary of the new power,
Anubis.
The System Lords believed him to be long dead, having tried to kill him for his unspeakable crimes. Now Anubis demands readmittance to their ranks, and his power speaks for itself. They feast on their fellow symbiotes, Anubis promises to wipe out Earth and the Tok'ra, and everyone, except Yu, votes him back in. Meanwhile, Zapakna is back, also working for Anubis. He leads the attack on the Tok'ra base, leaving them fleeing for their lives, while Renal is killed, Alduin breaks his neck, and Lantash, whose host used to be Martouf, finds temporary refuge in a mortally wounded Lieutenant Elliot. It doesn't take long for Anubis to move against Earth, too. He hurtles a giant asteroid at the planet to make it look like an accident so that the Asgard won't get involved. SG-1 takes a cargo ship to detonate a huge bomb and redirect the course of the asteroid, but Sam realizes it has a Naquita core. The explosion could destroy the planet. They need a new plan.
Carter, I can see my house.
A charismatic leader of the Jaffa resistance uses questionable tactics, including sacrificing his own people. Turns out it's because he's actually the Goa'uld Imhotep. SG-1 wakes up an android named Reese, only to find out she created the replicators, and Jack shoots her dead to save the base. And the team recruits a pair of prisoners, formerly part of the Rogue NID operation, to help figure out why a device that used to protect Latona doesn't work anymore. SG-1 returns home after a disaster on Kelowna, where they met a people who recently found their Stargate, along with a rare and powerful Naquita variant called Naquadria. A lab experiment went horribly wrong, and Daniel intervened to stop a Chernobyl-sized explosion and save millions of lives. But in so doing, he was exposed to a lethal dose of radiation. Daniel is dying. As his friends gather around him in the infirmary to say their goodbyes, Daniel is visited by Oma Dasala, the ascended being he met 2 years ago. Oma offers him a new path through ascension. But this will not be an easy journey.
If you immediately know the candlelight is fire, the meal was cooked a long time ago.
Daniel must first release his burden, Finally coming to terms with his failures and the worth of his life, he can move on to a new journey. As the team mourns the loss of their friend, there's no time to rest. The Asgard come to Earth for help after Osiris uses Anubis' super advanced tech to take out Thor's ship and threaten a secret Asgard research base. SG-1 takes a cargo ship to the planet, where the Asgard scientist Heimdall beams them into the secret lab. Heimdall has been studying the remains of an ancient Asgard ancestor in hopes of solving an existential problem. The Asgard are all clones, transferring their minds into new bodies over the course of many generations because they've lost the ability to reproduce. Heimdall tells them that Thor is still alive, and Jack and Teal'c beam onto the enemy ship to rescue him. Anubis himself shows up, threatening to implant a mind-reading device to extract information directly from Thor's brain. Meanwhile, Osiris finds the lab and captures Carter, the boys rescue Thor, and Heimdall beams them all out of danger just in time. But Thor is in a coma. The SG-1 team will never be the same again, and with his advanced weapons and Thor's knowledge, Anubis is poised to take over the galaxy. Season 6 is going to be a turning point for the show. Don't miss the next video in the series. Look for full episode guides with analysis, behind-the-scenes intel, and much more on our website at gateworld.net.